Hello, hello. Sorry, I had some technical difficulties. So I'm going to start talking about emotional awareness because this is what I've been wanting to talk to you about all day. What is emotional awareness, right? Because a lot of people are asking me that question. Well, emotional awareness is that part where you're self aware of how you respond emotionally to your triggers. It's the process, right? It's about figuring out how you're wired, figuring out how you typically respond to things and in real time, like what happens when an external trigger happens, an external event, something like trips you up, gets your emotions going, your thought processes going, and then all of a sudden you just respond. That is a trigger, right? And that's your response. And usually it's emotional. And so, where does that come from? Learning how to figure that out and transforming how you emotionally respond to when you're being triggered. For example, when it comes to stress, right? Something happens because maybe you're feeling overwhelmed, or you're confused, or you have a lack of clarity, or you feel like you'll never figure something out, or that leads me to like finish a project, and all of a sudden you lack clarity, you get really stressed out. Maybe you're running out of time, and so you're looking at the time and you're thinking, oh my gosh, there's so much time left to do this, and I have so little time to complete it. And in those moments when that happens, it's you being aware of how you respond when your stress buttons are pushed, right? So that you make better decisions in the things that you say and you do. It's you learning how to handle things in real life, in real time, in alignment with the person that you want to be. Typically, when if you were to not, take the emotion out of it, and you are responding the way you want to be from this place of not being in that emotional state, right? You know that you want to speak to it from the logical place where it's not like you're not emotionally charged, right? And so it's learning to figure out with those how you are typically when you are in those moments. And so you're in alignment. You learn alignment so that you don't say or do something that really is out of character when you are in that conflict. So when you're self-aware, you learn to catch yourself, recognizing those trigger moments for you and your old patterns so that you respond from a better state of being, so that you don't have to go back and apologize or how you responded to something because you've said or done something out of character, right? Because you didn't really mean to say it, but it just happened. And now let's look at this from a particular set of people, especially like say you're a mom or you're a dad, and you work from home, and you have children, and you're hypersensitive to knowing that they are watching you, right? That your children are watching you, and they're taking notes of sorts. And the truth is, they are watching you. They're learning from you and how you handle conflict, the best way to respond to stresses in life or any other emotional trigger for you that's been part of your pattern, right? So they're learning from you. And so if you're a mom or a dad who works from home, or just a mom or a dad of kids, and they're watching you as you go through life, and you have those moments in time that something happens, they're watching how you respond, and they're going to learn from that because they don't have anything else to pull off. They don't have life experience, but you do. So they're going to look to you, and you want to lead by example. Maybe you're having that a little bit of trouble managing your emotions because they're managing you, right? And so I want to leave you with something that's worked for me and for women that I've had the honor to work with. And it really does tie into self-care because you're going to go deep within to get to the root of your patterns, to the things that trigger you and the emotions that they evoke. So my name is Leslie Gadet. Self-care is my jam. I help busy female entrepreneurs make self-care their number one priority so that they wake up with more energy. They're focused, they have intention to tackling their daily activities, and they have confidence around it because they've taken care of themselves. And I truly believe that all parts of our daily lives and how we show up and the things we say, the things we do, how we think, our feelings, they're all based on our external and most importantly, our internal environments. And as I said earlier, emotional awareness is becoming self-aware of your triggers and learning to recognize your patterns and how you respond, especially how you emotionally respond. And again, like I said, if you have children and they're watching you, they're learning, you want to be able to show them like there is a better way. So if you are willing and you're ready and you want to get to the root of your patterns, learning the what and the why you're responding the way you do, here's a little exercise that you can do. Of course, I'm not going to leave you hanging. So it does involve writing. It actually involves you taking time to take a period of time, 7 days, and for you to like start to track yourself, because you want to be able to see how you respond. You want to learn. And the only way to learn is by actually documenting it. So you're going to have yourself a little notebook. I call it the emotional triggers journal. And you have this little notebook and you carry it around with you. Now, I know it might feel like it's a hassle to carry it around with you, but over time, you'll thank yourself for it, because you're going to learn about what these things that have in the past been managing you and your emotions, the way you emotionally respond to things. And you will get better because you'll start recognizing those triggers more quickly, and be able to like, tamp them down a lot faster than if you're just allowing life to just happen and come at you at all times. So you have your journal, and every time something happens, an event happens, something triggers you, and you respond. And if it's not how you really wanted to respond, is because, especially too, if we say or do things that they don't feel good, when we start to cool down, and they don't feel good in the way that we responded, that is an indicator that it really was out of character for us, and who we really truly are, who we want to be. So this is why I'm suggesting having this little notebook that you carry around to document real time your responses. So something happens, you respond, write it down. And then you do this for a period of a week, and then go back and review it, because you're going to start recognizing patterns of how you typically respond when something happens. And especially if it's a similar response from you, and no matter what the trigger is, and it's a similar response, that's going to prompt you to start to dig a little deeper, to figure out like, where is this coming from? Because if I'm responding this way to everything in life, there's something deeper going on. Now, as I said, remember, I did say how we emotionally respond to things is related to self care, and that sometimes we respond to things the way we do because we're not taking care of ourselves the way we should, right? It's really important, because a lot of the time we're not putting ourselves on the VIP list that we have put everyone else on. If you're a mom or dad, and I work with women, so women who I know, who I've worked with, have kids, and they're young kids. And so if you have children and they're very busy lifestyle, with school, of course, with homework, with after school activities, and then you've got your spouse, and you have your home life, family life, and there's making sure that there's dinner and there's homework and there's bath time and they go to bed. And if you have, you start your day and then you end your day, and there's no moments in there where you put yourself on that list of taking care of yourself, over time you're going to start to resent it, and that's going to actually start piling on, and you'll find that could become an actual trigger for you, the feeling of resentment when something happens and the way you respond to it. So it's learning to recognize that and becoming more aware around those things that trigger you the most, your patterns around being triggered, how you respond emotionally, because a lot of the time, especially if it's a heightened emotion based on something that happened, we're responding from that emotional state of mind, and we're not in that calm state of mind. So if we're not in the calm state of mind, we're typically going to start say or do something that's really out of character, and we don't recognize it, especially if we're not paying attention. We're not recognizing that as being out of character for us until we start to cool down, and then we start to feel badly about how we responded. So if you want to really start getting a handle on your emotions so that they stop managing you, and of course, not only do they stop, if you want them to stop managing you, you also recognize that when you get into those states of mind that are not, helpful to you, what does it end up doing as well? It steals your time, because you're caught in those moments, those emotional moments, right? And it can, just like take you out of flow. So learning, this is another reason why becoming more self-aware is helpful, because then you will not be out of flow as often as you've been in the past, because you started to recognize your patterns and you've learned how to not only recognize them, but how to actually respond from a different place. So I hope that was helpful for you to hear today. Hi, Rashawn. Yeah, hi. You are welcome. Yeah, very much important. You know, we can't take it back. When we speak out loud, especially when we respond immediately, we can't take it back. So it's becoming aware so that we can, you know, keep ourselves from having those moments that, even though we have people in our life that they understand when we go back to fix it and we apologize, there's still hurt feelings. And if you have enough of those moments of the same response to the same people, it could, you know, damage the relationship just a little bit. So it's just learning how to recognize that so that it no longer, your emotions no longer manage you, but you're more in control of them. And you're also understanding your triggers. So hope this was helpful for you. I hope that you have a great rest of your Friday and a great weekend. Spend some time with your family, your friends. Make sure that if you haven't been putting yourself on the VIP list, that you start right now, because there's no time like the present than putting yourself on that list. Because when you take care of yourself the very best that you can, you get the best of you, and so does everyone else and everything else in your life. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.